Guten Tag, ciao, bonjour, and hello from Zurich, Switzerland. Switzerland is an international capital of financial services, technology, and now digital assets, making it an ideal location for us to gather this week at Samsung Hall, and with virtually thousands of you around the world watching online, as we gather to learn about blockchain technology, and in particular, how BSV can ignite the power of data. Data is very important to all of us, and it's getting interest that is rising, in particular because of the worldwide increase in interest in digital assets and blockchain technology. That interest has been driven by the rise of BTC's price over the last year, as there's been skyrockets in price, and for some months, like this month, dramatic drops. That attention has been driven by public companies such as MicroStrategy, Square, and of course, Tesla, and then some institutional investors buying large amounts of BTC to hold as a reserve asset, a claimed store of value. And many even say very directly they have no intention of ever actually using Bitcoin for daily transactions. And it's not just BTC. There are now thousands of cryptocurrencies and many, many ledger projects, yet with very little actual use beyond investment trading transactions. So around the world, I'm often asked by people, what is the explanation for the price of Bitcoin and other digital tokens when so few people actually use the coins in daily life? And I tell them the truth. There is no good answer. For most of the market, there is no good answer. But here at Coingeek conferences and across BSV's global blockchain ecosystem, we want to give you a good answer. That answer is rooted in a blockchain that scales to handle huge volumes of electronic cash payment transactions down to the micro and nano levels of mere fractions of a cent, and massive use of data applications. And that answer is, of course, BSV. Because the BSV ecosystem recognizes and optimizes the power of data as the most valuable commodity of our digital economy. We seek to build real value with real utility with real data. And that separates BSV from the rest of the crypto world. And that's a message I want to underline right now. BSV is different from much of the cryptocurrency world. In fact, almost all of it. And why? We don't want a coin that you just hold for years. We build a blockchain to be used on a daily basis for billions of payment and business interactions, to create technology infrastructure, to be the new digital plumbing that works with the internet to ignite the power of data. I want to take you today on a journey through humanity's history with data, how blockchain technology has advanced that journey, and how BSV in particular will ignite it to a new future. Because humans, we've always looked for knowledge, and of course, there became ways to actually record it. With the earliest known recording of data in 19,000 BC, the Ashango bone, etchings on a bone as the earliest known form of tallying of numbers. For centuries then, information got recorded on stone tablets and other products and physical items, and they were collected into ancient libraries. But it wasn't until 1646 that the word data was seen to be used in the English language for the first time, in a book by Henry Hammond about, of all things, weakness and sin, derived from the Latin dare, to give, datum, thing given. Data is known today as a fact given or granted, often as the basis for calculation. And then a couple of decades later, it was John Grant in England who conducted one of the earliest recorded instances of data analysis, studying the death records of parishes in London in order to create this, a table of casualties, which he then used to create a book that he published, observations about the varying death rates between genders in London, and even using it to try to predict life expectancy. One of the first known instances of a writing using data to analyze and make predictions that could improve our life. And then let's hop over to the United States, where in 1880, it became obvious during the US Census that the population had grown so large and more questions were being asked that the data collected by census takers was just too vast to be analyzed. So a solution was created in 1890 when Herman Hollerith created a tabulation machine, the Hollerith desk, to efficiently count punch cards. And then in 1928, data went magnetic when Fritz Flumer invented magnetic tape for storing data. And that became the foundation for recording and using all of these devices we've had since then to power data. In the 1960s, American computer scientist Joseph Carl Robert Licklider envisioned something grand, an intergalactic computer network, where data and programs could be accessed by anyone, anywhere, at any time. That's a precursor to the internet and cloud computing, and I would argue, blockchain technology. And it became linked to the 1990s, when the modern internet as we know it today started to emerge, with Sir Tim Berners-Lee creating hyperlinks and hypertext to enable the sharing of data worldwide, which became so vast, we needed new ways to search for it. And I remember 1997 when Google Search launched in its primitive form, advancing our ability to synthesize, find, and use data. Today, data has grown to be stored in server rooms, up in the cloud with cloud services. But the true advancement that we're seeing, and which we'll discuss over the next 3 days here at Coingeek Zurich, is blockchain technology. And it is necessary to handle this exponential growth of data usage we're seeing every day. Over 306 billion emails and 500 million tweets, 95 million photos and videos posted on Instagram. Every one of you, every day, will generate 1.7 megabytes of data every second of the day. And by 2025, it's estimated that each human every day will be generating somehow 463 exabytes of data. And that's because of the proliferation of the Internet of Things. Extreme scale growth because there will be devices on buildings, in your home, across your city, on your body that collect and send data. 83 billion endpoints in IoT expected by the year 2024. So managing that data becomes complicated. And the best way to manage it in the future comes from Bitcoin, which people don't associate with data because it was introduced to the world in 2008 by the famed Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, providing a system for peer-to-peer electronic cash, making it easier and more efficient to send online payments to any person between me and you anywhere in the world because we don't use financial intermediaries and institutions as part of the process. And it did so by introducing the concept not of a blockchain, as it was described at the time, but a distributed timestamp server, a way to record transactions in chronological history with date and time. But instead of one person controlling it, distributing it, so the ledger is maintained and added to by many participants all across the world. And that ledger is also publicly available, so you can verify the transactions that happen on the ledger, which is critical to the concept of honesty, which is so important to Bitcoin. Although Bitcoin has garnered a reputation of something that is illicit, Satoshi's true vision was a system that is honest, because it has a ledger that's public and verifiable, and the word honest is used 15 times in the Bitcoin white paper. And the most important thing for you to understand across the next 3 days is that Bitcoin is more than just about electronic cash or payments. It is a blockchain, a distributed ledger. It is a data network, just like the internet. It is a network protocol, a rule set, like IP protocol, that controls and governs an entire data system. And that is why we understand Bitcoin as the fusion of data and money. It's right there in the word, bit, data, coin, money. And when you fuse the two together, you give it new power and open up a world of amazing business opportunities. So when we think of Bitcoin's blockchain, everyone thinks about Bitcoin as being able to have in the blockchain transactions of Bitcoin payments recorded into a block in the chain. But you can add so many more forms of data. social media content files from your phone or computer added to the blockchain, media files that we enjoy, video, music, written to a public ledger and record-keeping system. The consumer records of our lives, such as healthcare data, can be managed or accessed through a blockchain. The information about the world's logistics and supply chain of all sectors, managed through the blockchain. Government, legal, records and documents accessible on a public ledger. And even the information and data necessary to power smart contracts, from human agreements automated through implementation on the blockchain. And then you add the ability to pay, to monetize with small, tiny payments, all of that data that can be accessed universally from one place and exchanging information and value at the same time between all of us. That is the vision we have and the true power of igniting data to new levels. And that's one of the advantages of a blockchain like BSV, is a massively scalable public ledger. It provides in one place a universal source of truth, so we're all looking at the same information at the same time. It allows industries and organizations to break down data silos so that your information is not stored in multiple different servers or databases, eliminating intermediaries to create efficiencies and allowing the ability to exchange small online payments with that data, something that was not possible at the beginning of the internet. But to achieve that, massive scaling is necessary to lead to this massive vision. And that's what Satoshi Nakamoto always wanted. Way back in 2009, early in Bitcoin's history, he wrote that Bitcoin never really hits a scale ceiling. It already at that time should be capable of exceeding the Visa network's payment transaction capacity. But that is not what happened over the history of blockchain over the past decade plus, because BTC's network and developers decided to restrict the capacity size of the network, its block, to 1 megabyte in size, and therefore only have a network which can do on-chain 7 transactions per second at maximum. Nowhere near the capacity of Visa at 2,000 transactions per second at average times, and up to 56,000 or more transactions per second during peak periods. What is the implication of that? Why would that restrict and cripple a network? I ask you to think of email. When it launched and came into our life in the 1980s and 1990s, imagine if the world's email system and protocol were limited to only allow 7 emails per second by anyone across the world globally. That's it, 7 for the whole world. Email would not have grown to the business and personal use it does today, with 2.4 billion emails per second generated globally. And that happened because of scale. Scaling with technology, hardware, and also the belief that we could power more data. And that's what BSV is doing. Its solution is very simple: unbounded scaling. Do not limit what the capacity of the network is artificially. Let it grow with market forces and demand and the improvement of technology. With Bitcoin SV, we're already demonstrating much higher capacity because of the unbounded scaling approaches. Our mainnet has demonstrated over 5,100 transactions per second capacity. And as Calvin mentioned in his opening video, our scaling test network has demonstrated well over 9,000 transactions per second. With a major software release that will begin later this year called Terranode, we expect to be able to demonstrate 50,000 transactions per second and continue to go even higher. And that has resulted in our ability to demonstrate, in just a couple of years of BSV's emergence as a ticker symbol, the ability to overtake recently, just in the last few weeks, the BTC chain in accumulated Bitcoin blockchain growth, meaning the total data size of the network, because of the variety of larger and more complex data files that BSV's network can sustain. So the red line you see up front shows BSV overtaking BTC in accumulated blockchain growth. This is just the start. In the scheme of what we're doing, this is nothing. This is the start to demonstrate higher data capacity was always possible with Bitcoin. And Terranode, which you might get a bit of a preview to today, will be the enterprise scale software that the BSV blockchain will deliver to the world. creating the capacity we believe to sustain terabyte size, over 1 million megabyte blocks in size, and power millions, over 4 million transactions per second we believe is possible. There's a lot of work to get there. This future is not happening anytime soon, but we are the blockchain ecosystem most committed to bringing this reality to life. And it also means that we can create a network that allows for micropayments, small casual transactions over the internet. It's not miraculous to be able to send $1 million worth of Bitcoin to someone anywhere in the world, because we could do that with our traditional banking system. But it is remarkable to create a blockchain system where you can send small, casual transactions, as the Bitcoin white paper references on its first page. Because our network is so efficient with scale, you can send even fractions of a cent. You cannot do that on BTC, and therefore you cannot sustain all of these enterprise applications because the fees there are high and unreliable. Here's a chart you can see of fees over the past year on BTC, ranging from 3 to, in April, over $33 to send a single transaction, which means people don't use the network for daily payments and certainly cannot for expensive data applications. Same thing with Ethereum, which people thought would be a solution. Gas fees have been high and unreliable, ranging from $16 to, in May, almost $70 to send a transaction. That cannot work if you want to have many tokens or smart contracts operating at enterprise level. BSV, our median transaction fee just the other day, June 3rd, 1/100th of a US cent. That's it. Very small. And if you add more data, larger data files, it'll be a little bit more, of course, but still very, very efficient. And that means we can power all of these diverse use cases that are already emerging on the BSV network, everything from identity management to AR, VR, RegTech, network intelligence, and Internet of Things. You'll hear about a lot of them over the next few days. And it'll include everything from Handcash, Zumo, Relay, CentB, Dot Wallet, which are all wallets that provide more efficient payment systems because of BSV. You'll hear from a local company, Chenti, which has partnered with Tal, a Canadian public mining company, Vionex, and What's On Chain to develop a more secure and fast eCash payment system. Gravity, creating a new banking and financial services ecosystem for the world. And there will be the use of micropayments you'll hear about, from things like Pew and Handcash, Haste, a game that actually provides a whole platform for allowing video gamers to earn tiny amounts of money, and even consumer review platforms such as Brightview to make it more honest, the reviews we see online. You'll hear about customer incentives and rewards from MyGym and a company in Germany, Stabelwerk, and then social media, which really needs a revamp in the internet world to create a better, more honest system and something with better content. Everything from Twitch, Bitstagram, Streamanity, and Caster, which is a podcasting platform on BSV, are transforming the ability of the internet to better serve you. BSV is also powering new forms of trading platforms, such as TDXP, allowing micro-trading. RealAX has a decentralized exchange. And you'll hear about the launch of Fabric, an exchange that is really using BSV as a ledger and the platform to create new trading opportunities. Speaking of trading, the hot thing now is NFTs. Everyone wants an NFT, and they're coming to BSV with marketplaces such as Canonic, on which they are allowing the NFTing and publication of books, and bullishart.com, which just recently in the last couple of weeks announced that it was going to be adding BSV support to allow creation of tokens for contemporary artists. The world of work and business can get more honest with applications like Anna, which use BSV and BSV micropayments to actually hold you accountable for the promises you make or the hours you claim you work as a remote worker. In the esports world, you'll hear from the CEO of Fix and the discovery of the launch of its platform for CryptoFights, a game on its mainnet, which uses the blockchain not just for in-game items, but to actually record battle moves to ensure more integrity in esports betting. Integrity is a huge theme you'll hear over the next few days, with companies such as Company, with the K, in the RegTech business, using the blockchain to record KYC information that banks and financial institutions and other customers need to get on their potential customers and record them through a hash to the chain to ensure that there is proof that it was actually drawn. Veridad is a US company creating a trust-as-a-service platform that's starting with the pharmaceutical industry to take the data generated by clinical research when you're, for example, creating a new drug and ensuring that it is not manipulated by recording hashes of that data to the chain so that it can be easily detected if there's manipulation or changes later. In the supply chain management world, you'll hear from Dominium, a company working in the United Kingdom as well as Africa, about its cargo tracking system and other supply chain management systems, particularly focused on developing countries in Africa. In the financial services space, InvoiceMate, a new business is launching that actually will take account payable and other accounting documents and make a more efficient process through the blockchain. And we'll even talk to you about how its system could begin the process to create Islamic finance compliant capabilities through its blockchain system. Triple entry accounting will be a topic which will see the value of another ledger that's public to add to the integrity of accounting. And in the healthcare space, you've got things such as VXPass out of the United States, which uses BSV to manage and track the digital records for COVID-19 vaccinations, and recently announced a deal to be the platform provider to track the vaccine rollout in the Kingdom of Lesotho in Africa. We can also use BSV's data platforms to improve our environmental sustainability. And you hear about that from Australian project Weather SV and its use of recording of weather data as well as data related to trees and the environment to create data marketplaces that can improve our decision-making for environmentally sustainable action. Cities will get smarter with applications such as Omniscape, which will bring AR, VR, as well as BSV-based token and other technology implications to our world. And as Calvin mentioned, entire governments are starting to look at BSV. The South Pacific small island nation of Tuvalu is building a national digital ledger, moving its e-government services and records for its citizens to something built on the BSV blockchain. And of course, we need infrastructure to support this. So startups like Bionex in the United Kingdom are building a whole set of tools you'll hear about to make it easier for developers and businesses to launch on these platforms. And they're also doing it at enterprise scale. Enchain, the leading blockchain research and development business in the Bitcoin space, is leading the way, creating enterprise-grade blockchain solutions you'll hear about. And of course, those transactions need to be processed and sent across the world efficiently. And that's done by companies such as Tal, which is becoming the lead enterprise blockchain transaction processor for this entire ecosystem. There's so much that will happen more even in the future. We'll even hear a little bit about machine learning and whether blockchain technology can take data and create new ways to think. Artificial intelligence, is that possible with blockchain technology? You'll hear about that as well. These are all examples of how BSV and blockchain technology takes data and gives to us new things. Because that's how it all started. It's a thing given. It's something humans have always wanted to record. From etchings on a bone to tally numbers. Knowledge collected in ancient libraries, tables, tracking death to give us hope for new life. A machine to count who we are. Records on magnets. A dream for an intergalactic computer network. The link to a modern internet. A World Wide Web so vast, we needed new tools to search. Communication that's gone mobile and anywhere. Data in server farms, up in the cloud, and now onto the blockchain. Introduced by Bitcoin, the fusion of data and money into one. Using a distributed ledger of transactions organized into blocks connected across time. And those blocks can contain more than just payments. They also contain the most valuable commodity of our digital economy, the new oil, data and data infrastructure. So many things given. To own and monetize our own data. To send electronic cash, person to person, peer to peer, anywhere in the world, transcending geographic boundaries, allowing us to have business and government services that are better, creating a universal source of truth that breaks down data silos and opens data transparency, improving the sustainability of our planet, creating new ways to think, cities, communities, homes, lives that are smarter, stronger, better. So many things given if we allow massive scale of blockchain and BSV. We ignite the power of data.